introduction about the process, as well as some information on EAP, our Early Assurance Program. So everyone has a story of their journey. What will yours be? So the University of Kentucky College of Medicine was founded in 1960. The mission is to promote a diverse and inclusive environment that provides excellence in education, equitable healthcare, and transformative research to improve the health and wellness of Kentuckians and beyond. In our entering first year class, we had 2,442 applications for 201 seats. Of those applications, 1,417 were out of state and 564 were Kentuckians. I mean, keep in mind that at the College of Medicine, 90% of the class are Kentuckians. The remaining 10% are for non-resident students that have a proven tie to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, because we are trying to train physicians for the Kentucky Commonwealth. So the average MCAT for our first years from this last cycle was a 505, which means we're receiving scores that are a little bit higher and of course a little bit lower than that. But that's a number to keep in mind as you prepare. So we had residency matches in the class of 2019. There were 24 different specialties, 48% were primary care, 32% will stay at UK, and about 39% will stay in Kentucky. And we are working on the match rates for the current graduating class. And the average match rate for last year was 96%. So some ways to kind of get a feel if medicine is the profession for you is, do you enjoy talking to people? Do you enjoy communicating? Do you find that difficult? Are you showing a strong aptitude for science? And you can see there our averages was a 3.6 for science GPA for all courses was a 3.86, and then cumulative at the end was a 3.73. Are you interested in research? Do you volunteer in your community? Are you helping people? Are you shadowing clinicians and physicians to see if this is something that you want to spend your life doing? Have you attended any summer programs or internships? Are you serving those members of your community? Are you a leader in your community or on campus or in other organizations? And then are you in any pre-health societies similar to you all now participating in this webinar? So these are some things to consider if you are considering medicine as a profession for you. We in addition to these kinds of discussions, we offer a lot of resources on our website. So if you want to take a screenshot or shoot me an email, I can always give you our website information. And normally I would encourage you to consider attending an open house, but our open house was March 26th and that was subsequently canceled. We are working on a virtual option and we'll of course let you all know when that is. But you can still consider your best fit campus by getting on our website and kind of seeing what each campus offers. For those of you who may not be aware, in addition to our Lexington campus, we have a campus in Bowling Green at Western Kentucky's University, and then at NKU. And then the Moorhead program is a little different. It's the Rural Leadership Physicians Program, and they do their first 2 years at Lexington and then go on to Moorhead. For our prereqs, some of you or all of you may be aware, are 2 semesters of studies in physics, 2 semesters in biology, 4 semesters of chemistry, and that should include organic and biochemistry. Finally, 2 semesters of English with emphasis on communication skills or reading or writing. And that does say English, but we will look at upper level writing courses. If you have questions about your English prereqs, you can always shoot me an email or give me a call. And then I can check and see and make sure that the course that you have in question will fulfill any of these prereqs. But it's good to know as you're completing your coursework. So the ideal time to take the MCAT exam for our students that are planning to apply in this current cycle, in this upcoming cycle, is now. As a lot of you may know, March and April dates and the first 5 or 6 dates of the MCAT have been canceled. And AMCAS has promised that they will add additional dates. We've been on a few calls with them because we get our direction and guidance from the AAMC. So any questions that students have, feel free to ask either now, or at the end of the presentation about what the AMCAS recommends for students whose dates were canceled. Because we're trying to work with you all and also, of course, trying to follow their recommendations. But I digress. So you can see the average MCAT scores for each section there with the score range from 472 to 528, which if a student makes a 500, they're pretty much in the middle range. They're in the average range of the MCAT scores. And the new dates are on our website. We have just not updated this slide, but the dates are still pretty similar. So this year, the earliest day that you can submit your application is June 1st of 2020. We have not been advised by the AAMC to change deadlines just yet, so we are following their deadlines. The difference in the second date is that instead of it being July 22nd, we will start reviewing secondary applications on July 1st because we want to be able to give a quicker response to students and get their interview dates locked in sooner. The early decision AMCAS deadline is still August 1st as of right now. The early decision secondary application deadline is still going to be August 23rd of 2020. I don't believe the FAFSA date will change, but if so, you will be communicated to, and so forth. You can see November 1st will still be the AMCAS application deadline if nothing changes. And the same for the FAFSA, the secondary application, and the FAFSA deadline. And the updated dates are on our website. So if this is confusing you, I can easily share my screen at the end of the presentation to show you the new deadlines. University of Kentucky College of Medicine, we participate in rolling admissions, which means the earlier you apply, the earlier you get a response back. So we encourage students to apply as early as absolutely possible, which is June 1st. So the initial screening will occur, and then secondary applications will be offered to those that we deemed have met our screening criteria. Students will then select their campus location on the secondary application, so you'll choose Lexington, Moorhead, Bowling Green, or Northern Kentucky. You are asked your primary choice and your secondary choice. So if you choose Lexington as your first choice and Moorhead is your second choice, you will you will only interview in Lexington. You will not interview in Moorhead, but you may be considered if you're on the alternate pool and Moorhead has space in their class. And then the scholarship application is also included in the secondary application now, so that way you're not filling out 3 different applications. You're gonna get your primary, and on your secondary, you'll have your short answers. You'll select your choice of campus, and you will answer questions if you're interested in the scholarships. After screening of your secondary application, then the admissions committee will decide if an interview is to be offered. If criteria are not met for an automatic interview, that's when the advisory committee meets together. They meet and decide if students are going to be offered an interview or not. As I mentioned, your interviews are conducted at your first choice campus only. Deliberations from our admissions committee occur twice a month. And so this may be before or after your interview date, but you always receive decisions within a 2-week span after your interview. And the alternate pool they meet as needed. And so during this time where our class is full, as students start to withdraw their applications, just because that's part of this time of the cycle where students have to decide where they're gonna keep acceptances to and withdraw, that's when our alternate pool subcommittee starts to meet to vote on the current alternate pool and refill the class. So they meet as needed, and our admissions committee meets twice a month. University of Kentucky College of Medicine, we do offer a tuition guarantee, which means the tuition that you pay the first year of medical school will stay fixed for the 4 years. It will not increase despite what the rest of the University of Kentucky does with tuition. Usually some form of student loans are the main source of funding for attendance to medical school in addition to scholarships. Tuition costs vary drastically between Kentucky residents and out-of-state applicants. So that is something to consider when doing your research. And of course, merit, need, and enhancement scholarships are available. Military scholarships are available. And for students accepted into the MD PhD program, they receive full tuition. UK is one of only a few universities in the nation to have all 6 health science colleges, so medicine, dentistry, nursing, pharmacy, health sciences, and public health, all on one campus. And the goal is to position UK to become more of an interprofessional healthcare campus and collaborative campus. And so there are opportunities for all of our students to work together, to learn together, and participate in research. In addition, we have the Pass-Fail Kentucky Integrative Curriculum that is under constant review to make sure we're providing our students with the best medical education. Here is a quick slide of our Kentucky Integrated Curriculum, and this is also on our website. So if you need to zoom in at a later time and kind of see more about this in detail, please do that. So the core principal phase is your M1 year, and you can see that begins in August. You go through a lot of integrated education in the core basic and clinical sciences, as you can see listed. So clinical anatomy and radiology, foundations of infection, disease and therapeutics, HemTalk, neurosciences, behavioral basis of medicine, all the way up to June. And at that time, our first year students get their vacation block. Students tend to use this time for research and clinical elective experiences and just getting a quick break before your M2 year begins. That is a continuation of the core principal phase in green. You'll begin learning about the systems. You'll begin learning about the systems, so respiratory, renal, cardio, endo, and multi-system concepts. Your vacation time will come a little bit earlier. This time it'll be in March. This time students are preparing for their step 1 exams, research opportunities, and continuing clinical elective experiences. Your M3 year begins in June in orange, which we consider the application phase. And this is a longitudinal synthesis of the sciences and then application to the diversity of the patient care experiences that you'll be seeing. You can see the vacation portion is missing in the 3rd year, and that's not on accident. You smoothly transition in June to your 4th year, which we consider the advanced development phase in blue, which is a specialty specific rotation with capstone experiences to ensure that you are ready to transition to residency, because that's the goal of all of this. We want to ensure career preparation and that you successfully transition into your residency. So this is more of a bragging slide. The clinical enterprise of UK encompasses the Chandler Hospital, Kentucky Children's Hospital, Good Sam, the Marquis Cancer Center, the Gilhart Institute, Kentucky Neuroscience Institute, Kentucky Clinics, and all 6 health science colleges were named Kentucky's best hospital in the US News and World Report best rankings for the last 4 years. It's just a bragging slide, but we're hoping to continue this for a 5th year in a row. And I'm not seeing any chat responses. So Brianna, were there any questions? Because I don't want to skip any questions if there have been any. I can take a quick.
I don't see any right now, but
okay.
Yeah, they should be able to unmute themselves if they have anything like that.
Perfect.
So yeah, guys, feel free if you have any questions.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, next we'll chat about the early assurance program. And is everyone aware of the early assurance program who's on this webinar workshop? Either Carrie or Brianna, do you know if every student kind of has an understanding of the EAP program with UK? And I just don't want to explain it super in detail if that's something everyone's aware of, but.
Carrie would probably have that answer.
Okay.
I think she's unmuted. Okay.
Okay. Hi, Carrie.
Sorry, my video is doing weird things. I'm trying to get it to work.
No
the students have an understanding of it. I think Matt Hall, who's with us, is an EAP student, so he can probably also speak to this.
Awesome.
But I'm sure, a quick review.
Yeah.
The group of students we have looks like it's a mix of sophomore and junior students. I think some first years mixed in. And so a quick review, I think, would be a great thing.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Sure.
Let me go back. All right, so this program is, the EAP is our early assurance program, which is designed to provide competitive sophomore students with an opportunity to apply for provisional acceptance into the University of Kentucky College of Medicine. Center is actually partnered with Northern Kentucky University. So for any students in that EAP program, their contract will actually bind them to the NKU campus. If the specific criteria are met, EAP students are given an automatic interview. So the difference when we're voting for EAP students is we don't have an accept, alternate, and reject vote for them. We only have accept and we only have reject, because these students have done the work, they've met the MCAT requirement, and they've fulfilled the specified criteria. So we're not going to have them in the alternate pool. It's either going to be, yes, we think the student's acceptable, or no, the student may need to apply through regular MD because they are missing some of our requirements, some of our criteria. So for students that are in the Honors College UK that are applying to, that are in the EAP program, if they're not in the Honors College, they can apply without a fee if they meet the requirements. So the completion of the following by the end of the spring semester are 2 semesters of biology, 3 semesters of chemistry, including organic and biochem, and then 2 semesters of English with an emphasis on communication skills. And we did create the requirements to sort of mimic the pre-med requirements, because there's no better way to make sure that you're on track than to, you know, ensure that this is part of that. So the required GPA is a 3.6 or higher at the end of your sophomore year to apply, or a cumulative science GPA of 3.6. So March 1st is the deadline to submit your completed application with an unofficial transcript from your college, 3 letters of recommendations, of course, a list of your extracurricular activities, an essay on your goals, and another essay on how you can contribute to the healthcare of Kentucky, as well as your background. And then in March and April, the EAP Advisory Committee reviews applications. And we have done that for the students that will be joining at the Honors College UK. From April to May, we make final decisions, and students actually make final decisions because they may decide they don't want to accept after applying. And then we expect final transcripts on May 15th. This year, we're not sure if May 15th if that's going to work, because students may have trouble getting their transcripts. So we will absolutely work with them. And then May 30th, they're notified. So formal acceptance into the college is contingent upon participating in EAP activities, successfully completing the undergrad requirements, and then, of course, continued high academic achievement, as you can see there, with personal attributes necessary to become a competent physician. So you may ask yourself, why the University of Kentucky College of Medicine? Because there are so many accredited medical schools in the United States, and of course you can go to any of them. But the special thing that UK is trying to do is, with your peers, with our faculty and leadership and staff in the college, we are actually vested in training physicians for the Commonwealth, and we are vested in your success and preparing you for residency. So if you're in the room today, you're probably interested just a little bit in the University of Kentucky, and I'm hoping that this information is helpful, and as we're able to work with you, you find that UK is the place for you. But I am here for all students, our UK students and students at Center, students at U of L, EKU. So though this is more general, I do encourage any of you to meet with me to kind of review where you are and make sure you're on track. That's my last slide. And if anyone has any questions, this is a perfect time.
Yeah, I had a quick one about the in-state versus out-of-state application. At different times, we've been told that center students, regardless of where they're from, are considered as in-state applicants or having strong ties to Kentucky. Do you know if that's still the case?
You would demonstrate a strong tie to the Commonwealth because you attended a Kentucky university.
Okay.
But it would not be considered an in-state application unless you achieve Kentucky residency. But any student that attends a Kentucky university as a non-resident, they're demonstrating a tie by living here and saying that they want to continue living here. So that's a great
Okay.
question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question as well. I'm interested in the MD MPH program at UK. I've been told that you don't apply until like after an acceptance. Like, what is the kind of timeline for that? Do you know?
I can give you Dr. Cardarelli's information as he's the contact. We've had 2 incoming students in the MPH program. It's fairly intimate. And the timeline of that is probably about a week or 2. I think they don't have a separate interview with you, but they will want to meet with you and discuss the timeline, because some students want to start the public health portion before entering the program. And so they'll work with you. So if you want to shoot me an email, and I should have put my email on the last slide, but Carrie or Brianna can give you my email and I can get you in contact with him and he can better explain that for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question about the MCAT and everything happening with that right now. Just with all even the May MCATs just being canceled, I was just wondering when you all were anticipating making an announcement in terms of what you were going to do in regards to that, or if maybe if it extends into June, maybe what the plan would be.
So right now, UK's College of Medicine, in addition to all of the schools of medicine that are governed by the AAMC, we have to wait to receive guidance from them because they set the dates and we are governed by them. And as of right now, they're promising the rescheduling of dates, but they're not able to say when. We envision there may be an extension of the deadline, but we cannot make a decision outside of the AAMC until that recommendation comes through. So as of right now, we're aware of all the cancellations, of course, but until they let us know what to do, we really can't move, much further past that. Did you have one of the March or April or May dates for yourself?
Yeah, it was in April.
In April.
25th.
So have you had a chance to reschedule? I know they're waiving rescheduling fees.
Yeah, I was looking at the rescheduling and which date I wanted to do, and then it came out that there was suspending all rescheduling. So now I'm just waiting until tomorrow.
Yes. And we're waiting too. We had a webinar with them last Tuesday, and they were having a separate survey with deans, so trying to get recommendations from us. So we've shared our recommendations, but they need to make the final call so that this is systematic across the board for all students. Okay. That I don't think they want this process to differ for UK and differ for U of L. That's just going to be way too confusing. So that's why we have to wait too.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question about scholarship opportunities. So I'm an out-of-state student. Do you guys have scholarship opportunities for out-of-state students or just Kentucky students?
We have need-based and we have merit-based for non-resident students.
Okay.
We do. That's a great question.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I have another question. You mentioned earlier on about interviews, like there is automatic interview criteria, and then if students don't meet the automatic interview criteria, then that'll be voted on. Like, can you expand on what automatic interview criteria is, or if that's known to students or anything like that?
So that information is not shared with students. So there is a higher criteria, obviously. So as of this last year, our minimum was a 495 and a 3.0, and we're not sure if we're going to keep that just based on the LCME recommendations. We're not sure if that's going to remain in the incoming year. But students that are obviously a little bit more, have higher GPAs or have higher MCAT scores, and a few other things that we're looking for, because we do, review holistically, that could allow a student to have an automatic interview if they meet all of those things. So I guess my overall answer is to try and be as competitive as you can with all of those marks to get an automatic interview, but we can't share that criteria.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And how many students do we have applying in this next cycle? I don't know if it'll show the waving the hands. Okay, quite a few there. That's great. Do you want to do any?
Quite a few.
I know we have quite a few.
Yeah.
And then for those of you that do you know which campus you're interested in? And before all this happened, were you able to visit any of the other regional campuses to kind of get a feel for what's best for you? Anyone can respond whenever.
Well, I'm the EAP student for,
Yeah.
so I'm going to be applying for the Northern campus. So if any first years or sophomores have a question about that, then you can also shoot me a question.
Oh, perfect. What a great resource. Does anyone have any questions about his experience?
I was just going to ask if you could like kind of expand on what the draw would be for going or wanting to go to a different campus that wasn't Lexington, because I like had really only heard about people choosing to go to Lexington. And so I'm just kind of curious as to why you would want to do a different campus, like what the draw would be.
Depends on the area of Kentucky. So are you a Kentucky resident?
No, I'm from Indiana.
Oh, okay. So the reason that the campuses were added to the Bowling Green area and Northern Kentucky area was because we want to expand our reach for care out there. So we're partnered with St. Elizabeth's Hospital, and no, I'm forgetting the other one, but we're partnered with them similar to UK. And because we noticed that there was a bit of a decrease in healthcare, and UK wanted to make sure it had a presence there. So students from the Cincinnati area, there are select counties that are now attracted to NKU's campus. And so we're kind of getting students that may have wanted to go to Ohio. Then we might get students that might have considered schools in Nashville or Tennessee. And we wanted to make sure that we have a presence with that actual patient population. So really it would be the area that drew a student, because the curriculum is the same. Every single thing is the same, all of our requirements. It would be the area, or if you just had maybe a great relationship with a physician in that area and you knew you wanted to train under them. So I think for students that go out there, they know Bowling Green has 30 students, Northern Kentucky has 35, Moorhead has 12. They know that the campus is just gonna have a more intimate feel. So those are some reasons why students might choose our regional campuses. And we wanted to make sure that was an opportunity for them. That's a great question.
Thank you.
With that, could you elaborate on the Moorhead?
Yeah, on the RPLP program?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so so all of our students start off at different campuses except for the RPLP program. They'll complete the first and second year at Lexington with us. And then they go to Moorhead and they are trained by the rural physicians in that area. And they actually earn a certificate. Their curriculum is a little bit different because it's specifically for students that know they want to go into the rural areas of Kentucky and start training. And after this, if you shoot me an email too, I can get you over to Bodie Stevens, who is the admissions coordinator over there. And I've been over there. I have to visit each campus normally. I would normally have to visit each campus at least twice a semester, just to kind of see how they're doing and make sure that their admissions process mimics ours. But is that something that you're interested in? Because students from a rural background who have, grown up in that area, they know the healthcare disparities. And if that's something you're interested in, that's something you can't bottle up. They can tell in the interview, they can tell from your community service, they can tell your interest lies. Is that something you're interested in?
Yeah, I'm from South Dakota, so I have the rural.
Yeah,
yes.
Mm-hmm. And it's a small class of 12. They have their own. Every group has their own orientation. They just they really have a great thing going at each of the campuses. So
awesome. Thank you.
If you're interested in that, I can absolutely get you Bodie's information.
That would be great.
Okay.
I think Himantha raised her hand. Oh, sorry, guys. I think Himantha raised her hand.
Go ahead.
She has something to say, and then you guys just take it away.
Okay. Oh, it says 2 participants. Okay. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah. Himantha, I think you raised your hand first, if you'd like to go first.
I don't think I did.
Maybe on accident.
Maybe on accident. Okay, it looks like Mary Catherine raised her hand. Would you like to go?
Yeah, sure. So continuing on that topic of the Moorhead campus, I was able to go to a open house there last summer, and I really
Right.
enjoyed it. And just like continuing on talking about that, do most students that attend that campus, do they enter residencies that are focused on rural medicine, or is there is there a focus or in primary care, or do the students there enter like a wide range of residencies like in different areas?
They do. I can actually get this more specific data to you, but of course it's a small group, and there are 12 of them. Quite a few go into internal medicine, family medicine. I think we have one in OB, and I think we have one OB-GYN. And so your choices are not limited because of the size. You can absolutely go into any into any field that you're interested in, as long as the rotations are available. And we haven't had any students at any of our campuses, not able to focus on the specialty they're interested in. So, so you were able to go last month before everything. Was this in February or March?
I was able to go last summer.
Oh, last summer.
A
Okay.
One-day open house. Yeah.
Oh, great. Did you meet Bodie and Dr. Todd or
yeah.
Dr. Brown? Great.
Yeah, I think I met all three of them, and I really enjoyed it because I had gone to the Governor's Scholar Program in Moorhead, so it was nice to return.
You have ties,
and
okay.
they were really kind. So yeah.
And are you applying in this next cycle as well? Are you one of the ones? Okay. Okay. Well, good. Bodie's on a call if we have a meeting tomorrow, so I'll let him know about the interest in RPLP. I'm sure he'll be happy to hear, and to maybe expect some emails and things. So that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
It looks like Andrew Arnold had his hand raised as well.
Yes. So I know that the Moorhead campus has like a kind of application personal statement workshop.
Is that happening?
That was still on with, right. Is that happening? And if so, is that still would that be, I guess, on Zoom? And then if it's not
virtually,
do
you know when this was going to be?
I think you said you don't know what.
Do you know when the personal statement normally takes? Is that around this time? Did they provide this?
I think that the application was due within this week, and then I think that they were offering the kind of boot camp.
Oh, the boot camp, yes, at the end of May. So we are discussing a virtual option. Sorry, I heard the personal statement part, but the entire boot camp for both MKU and Moorhead and Bowling Green, we are discussing virtual options because summer classes already moved online for UK. I doubt that'll be in person. But it will, we're not going to cancel it. It'll be virtual if it's not in person.
Okay. And did you mention that you do any application review as well?
So when you say application review, what do you mean? What is that?
Well, I thought you were saying something that you could sit down and talk with us.
Oh, absolutely. So I can look over transcripts and resumes and just make sure that you're on track with just things like shadowing. That's really important. How involved are you on campus? Things like that. Your academics. Any student that meets with me, I just want to make sure they don't have any surprises when it's time to apply. But as far as personal statement, at UK, I don't know if it's just for UK students. We have a writing center that offers virtual review for all students applying to professional programs. Does center have anything like a writing center or something where you could get your personal statement looked at? Do you, Brianna?
We have a writing center, but I don't know if they necessarily specialize in that. We have our career and professional development office kind of does,
but not so much but personal statements and things. Okay.
Most of the review of personal statements is done by faculty members. So I'll review personal statements, and I've had actually many of the people on this call have asked me.
Oh, great.
And then we have a couple other faculty who have volunteered their time and are willing. And so most faculty, if you check with them, are willing to work with students to work on personal statements, especially people on the health advisory committee.
All right, great, Andrew. It sounds like you have some resources, some great ones. Great.
And I think Natalie had her hand raised if she'd like to go next.
Yeah, so I'm actually interested in the Northern Kentucky campus just because I think that idea of meeting Kentucky's needs is really important. So I was just wondering, there was a tour thing happening this weekend, but I assume that that's canceled.
Like a tour open house? Let me check in.
Yeah.
These days.
And I was just wondering if there was any other way, like if I should contact students there, or if there's like another way just to like get another feel for it. So I'm from Lexington, and I've spent a lot of time at UK's campus here, so I kind of understand.
I have an understanding. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to, get another opinion or insight, or Matt, if you've been.
Yeah. They're a little bit in transition. So their admissions coordinator accepted a position at her alma mater, but I can still get you. She's still there for another 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will still have support regardless, whether you want to meet with me or whether you want to meet with Rebecca Thaman at NKU's campus. And I think her information's on our website, but I can still get that for you. And we're working on an overall virtual tour because, of course, at this point, our tours are canceled. Mm-hmm. And when we do that, our communication and marketing team, they will do that as well at the regional campuses. But I would still want you to meet with her, or even Dr. Haste. I think he does some advising and works with the EAP group, I think is what Carrie mentioned in one of our meetings. So they're both great resources to be able to share about NKU, and they're passionate about it.
Cool. And I also had another question just about like the admissions. So we send our application in, and then on the secondary, we basically decide like which campus you want to do. Does your application then get sent to that campus for review, or is it still like at the Lexington where the committee is meeting?
It moves okay, great question. So these are the steps: the primary application and the secondary application. And then if a student is offered an interview, that's when it goes to the regional campus.
Okay. And
after the review of the secondary, yes. So if say you chose Bowling Green, at that point, your application would be with them moving forward for an interview.
And
same with Northern Kentucky.
These are good. So I was wondering also at Northern, when you're doing your clinical rotations, I had talked to an admissions officer up there before who said that basically if there's a specialty that you don't see up there, that you could rotate at Lexington or at other campuses. Is that
that is true?
Okay.
Yes, because yes, because despite being 4 campuses, we're still 4 campuses, but also one campus. We want to make sure that none of our students are shortchanged just because of area. So yes, that is true. If you are interested in a specific rotation in another campus, then they will work with you. To temporarily be at a different campus to get that experience. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Sarah Lyons had a question about GPA.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
GPA applicants from center tend to be a little bit lower, like in terms of their GPA, and so I didn't know if that was.
Are you saying that as a fact or asking?
I don't know if I would say it was a fact.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of our center applicants are really strong. So are you concerned about like a certain, like a science GPA or an overall GPA?
Yeah, just generally. I was just wondering. Yeah, I think.
I didn't mean to fluster you because I had not heard that about center. So I just wanted. I didn't know if this is like a rumor or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then it shouldn't be a problem then.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
But if you do want us to look over like transcripts, I understand those kinds of questions. I didn't expect grade GPA questions. That's personal. If you want to discuss that, then we could have a similar meeting one-on-one and just kind of comb through. Kind of comb through and look at grades and see if there are any concerns.
Yeah.
That's for anybody. You're welcome.
And then Andrew Arnold had his hand up, and then we'll do Chris Esselman after that.
So this is following with Sarah's question. So I took 2 physics classes during the summer at U of L. How do transfer courses factor into GPA and all that kind of like the science GPA and everything else?
So with the 2 courses you took at U of L, does that affect your center GPA? For us, transfer courses do not affect the GPA. I can't speak for center though.
Okay.
How does that work?
So it doesn't affect our center GPA. I just didn't know if that would.
It would also not. They would see the letter grade. So that's a really good question. We have never had issues with U of L or obviously our center transfer courses. Is your question if you submit your center transcript and then submit the U of L grades, if you're going to have like a separate center GPA and a separate U of L GPA? Or are you asking if the two are combined?
More so if the two are combined. So like if you're having your science GPA, which is your biology, your physics, your chemistry, is with my physics grades from there, that would be combined. And,
they would. Okay. I had to like visually remember the application. They would be combined. Yes, that's a great question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Chris?
So this is like kind of with Sarah's question. I think there's like this rumor at Center that like medical schools in Kentucky like view Center as like harder than maybe some other schools. Like would view like
the curriculum, you mean like coursework and things?
Yeah, and they might like add like say like a lower GPA might like be higher compared like be similar to a public school. I don't know if there's any truth behind that or not, but I think that's what.
And I mean, it might have been in the past. So there are some things that we are revamping now with the new admissions office. So because there's a little bit of new leadership with our associate dean and then myself. So maybe in the last couple of years, the admissions committee would review grades that way. I can't really speak to the past, but I can speak to this current cycle in that any student that sends their grades in to AMCAS, you know, sometimes the GPA can differ maybe by a point or two depending on how they weigh grades. They don't look at A+ or minuses or anything like that. But we are aware of how difficult the center curriculum is. And we know that an organic chemistry course there is an organic chemistry course and, you know, maybe not a survey. But I don't remember any discussion of, well, you know, well, this is a center student, so it's harder. I don't know. But with your question, what is it that you're really asking now? What are you asking about how the committee looks at your grades? I'm not sure I get the actual question.
Yeah, there's just a rumor that maybe you had a lower GPA and you applied to UK medical school and they would view your lower GPA just because you came from center, they would view it a little bit better, I guess.
I'm not aware of that.
Sounds good.
I'm not aware of that, but that's a good question, and I can find out more about that. That's not something I've experienced this year. And we do want to make things equitable for all of our applicants. So if it was a 3.0 this past cycle, it's the 3.0 stands for the minimums. So I hope that answers that question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
And it looks like Eleanor had her hand up as well.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
I had two questions. My first question was, I took the second level physics class. So would I need to take another semester after that semester of physics?
So you were able to take the second level without the first level?
Yes, because I took physics through high school.
And so and did you take an AP course or was this
IB course, but basically the same thing. An IB course, it's like comparable to AP.
We accept AP scores of a 4 or higher in physics. I'll have to look through the MSAR. I don't know that we've accepted IB courses.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then my second question was, I'm only a first year, but do you have any advice for ways to show, like ways to interview or meet with other doctors this summer under the circumstances?
You mean like to interview like different from shadowing?
Or shadowing.
So right now, yeah, pretty much every student that's reached out to me in the last week or two, their shadowing opportunities have ended, obviously, to protect the students and patients. It would probably be late summer, I would feel, before a physician felt safe enough to welcome you into shadowing.
Okay.
So, I mean, things can become tricky. That's a really good question. If you have a relationship with your primary care physician, this might be a good time to see if they have free time and will be willing to talk to you and maybe even just share experiences. you're going to have to try and be creative, because shadowing is going to be difficult for students that are trying to get it during this time. But we're mindful that when we're reviewing applications 2 to 3 years from now, we will see spring 20, summer 20, and fall 20, and we'll know what happened. And so if that semester happens to not look like the rest of your 4 years, we understand.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I actually just had a quick question about the AMCAS GPA. Is there any difference weight-wise between first and second year courses versus third and fourth year courses in terms of how your GPA gets calculated, or is it year is independent?
Each year is independent. We review the BCPM, which is the biology, chemistry, physics, and math GPA, and then we look at your cumulative GPA. And there's no difference from year to year.
You mentioned too with that they don't consider pluses or minuses. So is that just an A as a 4.0, a B as a 3.0?
Yes, okay. That's how MCAS reviews it. Mm-hmm.
So
that's why it may look like, oh, you had a perfect 4.0, but then MCAS may report you had like a 3.86 or something. That's why that may look different when you submit your transcripts.
And just in general, I shared your email in our group chat. So if you guys,
awesome.
It's in the chat. But it looks like Skylar Palmer has her hand up and she has another question.
Okay.
Hold on, I unmuted myself. Okay. So this isn't exactly pertaining to me, but I'm an officer in the Pre-Health Society, and I've had a few students reach out to me because their pre-med opportunities and experiences got canceled this summer, and they were just really worried about how that's going to look on their application, kind of similar to what Eleanor was saying. Do you have any advice to them if they're behind? Mostly it's sophomores who are going to become juniors, and this is kind of their last summer before they really apply next year.
I think the same thing that I said to Eleanor about trying to be creative. If you happen to be lucky and maybe have your primary care physician in the area, or even if you're a non-resident, maybe try and start having some type of virtual mentorship with them, have some conversations with them via Skype. If they have free time, I can't promise that during this time that, a lot of physicians have free time, but that's when it's time to start using relationships. So if you're a former patient or if you've done prior shadowing, maybe reach out and see if a physician that you worked with in the past would be willing to either let you know as soon as they're comfortable allowing students back in, or if they would be open to some type of virtual experience. At UK, for any virtual programming that they're considering, if we had kept PEP MD this year, we were going to try and see if there was a virtual option for students to participate in an OR. But I realized that that's a really big ask, and I don't know a lot of students who have a relationship with an MD where they can say, if you're in a teaching institution and you record an operation, can I watch? But I would probably start with virtual mentoring and talking on the phone and seeing if there are any webinars. But as I told Eleanor, we are aware of this time, and in the next 4 years, we will see 4 to 5 years, we'll see transcripts from this time, and we will remember why it probably looked a little different. So please refer any students you want to from me, or share that information. I hope that gives them a little bit of peace.
Yeah. I know maybe one possible option was to take I know some schools are having free online classes during the summer just to kind of keep students engaged and offer that as an opportunity. Is that something that maybe UK would see as trying to remain engaged and trying to continue their, outside of class education?
What kind of science courses? I think that's valuable.
Oh,
what kind?
I don't know if there's science courses pre-med, but I just know I found one that's global health type courses that you can maybe find online. Some of them aren't free, but some of them are. But is that something that?
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea. Anything with global health or epidemiology.
Okay.
Research. That's a great idea. Okay. And this will show. I mean, I want you all to remember too that of course this is still a competition. So anyways, I know that sounds horrible, but you are competing against students. And I want all students that chat with me to just know the level of students that they're competing against. And you all are competitive. And so you want to find creative ways during this time to show, if you were able to serve, to show that you have empathy, to still show that you're communicating with people somehow during this time. Find creative ways to show that. And even if it's just one, it may just be one opportunity. I mean, I'm all about quantity over quality, but even if it's just one opportunity during this summer, it still shows that you have a continued interest in medicine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, kind of different to what we've been talking about, but like one of the things that I am interested in is like medical Spanish and like kind of treating the opportunities to like treat Latino patients. Does UK med school have any of those kind of opportunities to get like a medical Spanish certificate or any kind of classes along those lines?
That's a great question that I'm not aware of. I don't even know that that's offered to our current medical students.
Okay.
I think that's an absolutely, it's a very valuable skill to have. I don't know that UK offers that.
Okay.
And I'll do some digging because that would be a great thing to to send out to all students that I've chatted with. That's a great question. I wish I knew. I have not heard of it, and I don't know that that's even offered to our medical students, but I'll do some digging.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, do we have any last minute questions? I think we have just a few more minutes left. And if you have any, I've shared her email in the chat, like I mentioned before.
Yes.
So feel free to reach out to her. Yeah, no problem.
And thank you all for these great questions. You never know what kind of engagement you're going to get virtually, but this has been awesome. And of course, I wish I was like with you guys, but this has been great. And I really hope everyone's been staying safe and your families and friends have been taking care of themselves and staying safe during all of this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Yoma, for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me. I'm happy to help.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, all 28 of you, for coming today and asking your wonderful questions. And I hope you guys remain safe and healthy. And I have also recorded this, so this will be on our YouTube channel. So if you need to refer back to the video for any information, feel free to do that as well. All right. Well, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.